my great aunt so eloquently said at one time that a fart is just a telegram from Turd Island that a shit shower's on the way. That's what my aunt Min used to say. So
Was
here
your
are
Aunt Sylvia Plath? How did she? That's really very eloquent.
yeah, my Aunt Min. She lived through some tough times coming over from Germany during the war, and that was one of the things of wisdom that was passed on to the next generation. But here is a list from Mental Floss, the 30 different ways to say the fart, and we'll go through them real quick. I'm not going to hit all 30 of them, but some stick out more than others as things I've actually said in the past. They begin with air biscuit. That was one I had heard before, and I've actually used. There was a slice of time where air biscuit was the go-to,
right?
For fart. They also say a bottom burp. Had not heard that one before.
I like that.
I do like that one. The obvious cheeser, cut the cheese and squeeze cheese. We've all heard those before. I like this one. I think I've heard it before. The one cheek squeak.
Yes.
Have you ever used the old one
Never
cheek
used that
squeak?
one, but I've heard it. Yeah.
That's a pretty good one. They also have some here of the empty house is better than a bad tenant, says somebody. That's a long way to go. Just say fart in that particular instance. We have raspberry tart. Someone called it a horse and cart is another one. We have wind the horn is someone uses that. Tail scutter is another one, another term for fart from Mental Floss. Here's the last few one, rim slide. I don't know if I ever would want to say that in mixed company.
Mm-hmm.
I would never want to say like, hey, don't go in there. I just rim slid. That would be almost like whatever Kelly was searching an incognito tab. I don't want to rim slid. You got a bum crack, dropped one's lunchbox, a rouser, a orange banana, which I don't understand that one. And the last one on here that I will hit is the Bronx cheer.
The Bronx cheer. Really?
So
I thought the Bronx cheer was literally the raspberry.
Yeah. They actually have the etymology of some of these as well. I just realized that air biscuit is extremely malodorous fart or belch. Phrase dates back to the early 90s and originated in the South, but clearly needs to be used everywhere. The act of farting or belching is known as floating an air biscuit, is how it's used in a sentence.
How did we get fart? Where did that one come from?
You know what? It actually doesn't list how we got fart. The cut the cheese, this phrase for farting relates to the pronounced odor of certain cheeses.
All right.
The empty house is better than a bad tenant. That's from New Zealand. After you've farted in public. Farting in public is embarrassing, of course, but it's arguably better than the alternative. Holding in a fart can cause some gas bubbles going up through different places. The wind the horn is a UK term, dates back to the 1660s. Tail scutter is an Irish slang term for a fart in the mid-1960s. Rim slide, this is a prison slang term for the 80s for a silent but foul-smelling fart. Oh, rim slide. Hopefully noting that the fart sliders from the rim of from your buttocks, which is why it's the rim slide. So that's a prison term. Got bum crack, which goes back to 1604. Orange banana is toot adjacent, and Bronx cheer, we all know, called the Bronx cheer, term that dates all the way back to 1908. So there's different ways to let everyone know you ripped ass, which is another one that I can just add to it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I come from a family where fart was literally a 4-letter word. We just don't say that.
Yes.
And so my aunt and my cousins, my aunt decided it would be called a honk.
Honk.
Honk. And we didn't know that nobody else in the world called it a honk.
Oh no.
So yeah, you go to school and you say, somebody honked, and then now the attention is on me instead of the person who just ripped ass.
Exactly. Ripped ass, indeed. It was that way in our house for a little bit, but I think by about age 10, it was the first time we got to say fart. And then it was over after that. It's just a fun word to say.
The game is on. Wasn't the first joke they found on a rolled up papyrus I think it was a fart joke.
It was a fart joke.
Yeah.
Of course it was. An empty house is better than a bad tenant, is what it said on the papyrus. It was very classy. It was a thinker.
The world's oldest joke dates back to 1900 BC. It's a saying the Sumerians who lived in what's now Iraq, and it goes, something which has never occurred since the time immemorial, a young woman did not fart in her husband's lap. And everybody was laughing. Couldn't control themselves.
If I ever go to an open mic night, I'm using that as my opening. You're never gonna believe this one. 1900 BC. Let me lay it down for you.
1600 BC gag about a pharaoh goes like this. How do you entertain a bored pharaoh? You sail a boatload of young women dressed only in fishing nets down the Nile and urge the pharaoh to go catch a fish.
Bing. Was that the Rodney Dangerfield of Egypt back in the day? No respect, let me tell you. No respect.
The oldest British joke goes back to the 10th century. What hangs at a man's thigh and wants to poke the hole that it's often poked before?
Ryan's double dildo that he bought for his wife.
A key.
Hey!
A key.
God, people were not funny back then.
I'm glad we've evolved.